Alright, welcome back ladies and gentlemen to the Chupacabra Tutorials channel. Today we're back for some more photoshopping shenanigans today. Taking a look at how to selectively change different colors to other colors inside of an image. And the answer is, I mean, it's literally Photoshop. There's like a bazillion different ways that you could or might want to change colors in an image. So the first tool most people think about is the Hue and Saturation window. And this window lets you just blanket change all the colors inside of your image to kind of do like a cool, trippy discoteca effect. But we're going to do this using the adjustments layer over here in the sidebar. And the reason why adjustments layers are nice is when I make a change with just the panel, and I change something to like invert the colors and I click OK, I can't just click like the eyeball tool here to undo that. But if I make it into a layer, I can change my mind about what color I do whenever I want. So inside of Hue and Saturation, you've got a few different options. The first one is you can change the color or the hue of your work, and this just is the master color changer, which is what's selected right now. And this will just change literally everything on screen. The next thing is the saturation, or how much of colors are in the image. So if I turn it down, it takes the color out of the image. If I jack it up, it makes them ultra bright and vibrant to the point where you can actually see where some of the red character is actually reflected in the black bricks of this image, which is actually kind of trippy to look at. So if we put that back to 0, we can then take a look at how we can change the colors. I mean, obviously you could change all the colors with colorize, but we're looking to spot change some colors. We're looking at to say, maybe we want to just change the blue or just change the yellow, right? So to do that, if you click on this pull down menu, you can change a specific subset of the colors. You can say, I want to change the reds. Or you can go like, I don't know about, I'm not a big fan of yellow. Let's just make that like blurpleberry. Unfortunately, because this is like a selection of all the colors of the rainbow, what you end up having happen is yellow is kind of close to orange, which is kind of close to red. So you get some bleed over where it's reflecting off the character next to him. Now you can do that. You can fix that a couple of ways. You can remove that coloration by blending in the mask that it comes with and hit like B for brush. And we can go over here and be like, well, I don't want to mess with orange too much. Let's just erase that. Alternatively, if that's not what you want to do, you can also go back into the main section here, go back to yellows. And then this little doodad down here is the range that we're targeting the colors in. So from here, it's kind of hard to see, so I'll try to zoom in on this tutorial. You can click and drag these individual colors, and you can kind of manipulate what points you're actually editing the color, so that you're not having a bunch of crazy crossover with the color nearby. And you can kind of see in this color form inside the tool where exactly it is that you're crossing over and where you're not. And between that and masking, you can very easily avoid cross-contaminating other parts of your image with your color editing skills. So we'll just trim this up right here. And that looks pretty good, honestly. Like, this is getting exactly what we want. We can now color change this however we like. Now, alternatively, if I undo all of that stuff, let's just delete this layer and make a new one. If you're not really down to selectively change colors these ways, you can also just select the color itself. Let me just make a duplicate of this file, or of this image, I should say, just so I don't destroy it. And let's go to select, and we can go to color range, and you can say like, I want all of the reds that are basically this red color. And we can select this red version of Deadpool, and we can play with the fuzziness of this, which is actually not too sensitive as far as like color selections go. We can try just to select that one swath of red color. And it did an okay job, although it kind of grabbed the sides here. So maybe not, but if this doesn't work and you're having a hard time recoloring something because it's really close in detail to another color on the screen, well, there's also the bootleg method, which is to just draw over top of it. And you're probably saying to yourself, well, Larry, I don't want to individually draw over things with the red and then try to blend it in a bunch of crazy ways like it's graffiti. That just seems like a pain in the rear, don't you think? And yeah, you'd be right. That is kind of a pain in the butt. But what we can do instead, if I delete all these unused layers, we can instead go into the brushes, and there's actually a color replacement tool. Did I say replacement? Replacement tool. And from here, we can select a color, and we can change it to another color. So I want to change color, and then what color do we want to make the red into? Let's say I want to make the red into like a blurpleberry purple. And then we can go into here and we can just select it and it'll find all the red pixels. It kind of goes off of, you see how there's that little like crosshair in the middle there? It kind of goes off of whatever you're targeting. So if you're just trying to change like red, it'll try to target just the reds. Sometimes it can be a little janky. Let me go with contiguous. So it'll try just to target the shades of color that you're selecting, although depending on your settings, and I don't have mine on default, it can kind of jankle with other colors. But this is actually a pretty decent way if you want to quickly and cheaply change the color of an object without having to painstakingly select it. You can. And because I made another duplicate of this layer, I can kind of just quickly trace out everything that looks vaguely red here. Then if I have any crossover with the other colors, I can quickly just add a mask to this. Click on the layer mask, hit the brush tool. I gotta pull out the regular brush. And then I can go back and I can clean up these lines here. Anywhere that I drew outside the lines, like some sort of crazy Photoshop peasant. And then you can easily kind of tweak that and put it back to whatever you wanted it to. Another method, if you're into drawing over top of stuff, is you can literally grab a color, paint over top of it with another layer, and then down here in the blend options, there's literally a blend just the color option. You can also blend just the hue. Hue tends to change the color in a more of a natural way, whereas color kind of just like stamps it over across, like you literally painted over it with watered down paint. You can also do the saturation level, which will change the color intensity to the color intensity of whatever the layer is above it. And then luminosity is kind of the brightness, all that good stuff. We're gonna go with hue, and because we selected hue, now we can kind of paint over top of this to change the color of this particular Deadpool to purple, and there's nothing he can do about it. What do you think about that, Deadpool? Huh, Ryan Reynolds? Not so tough are you now, Mr. Purple Deadpool Man? And so with this as your primary tool to do this, it's actually a lot of different options that you have in order to change the color. The one that I'm a particular fan of is actually this, because it's easier to clean up. Making good tight selections is another really good one, where you use that color selector. This is a bad example for that, because there's, you know, tones that are really close together, literally lined up like the rainbow. So yeah, this is some different options that you have at home to change the colors in your pictures. We've got just using hue and saturation. You can use the color replacement tool. You can select them directly with the color selection tool under select color range and then change the color with something else. You can paint over top of it with this tool and blend in the color. You got a whole range of options. So go grab those and do with them as you please. They make life a whole lot easier once you learn how to quickly change the color of things so that they match with whatever you're working on. Because you never know when you need to change the color of like the car in the background to match the outfit for like a fashion photography shoot that you go on. Or maybe you're out in the mountains and you're trying to take pictures of the flowers, but your photography settings were off and you need to increase the intensity of the colors so they really pop. You've got a bunch of different options there, so I hope you make use of all of them. In fact, to make things pop a little bit better, you also have the Vibrance tool here, which allows you to bump up the vibrance without kind of janking up the color, which is what usually happens with saturation. When you make the saturation go up, it kind of looks neon, where if you use Vibrance, it kind of just makes the colors you already have look a little bit more intense, like you've added some contrast to them. So yeah, that'll be it for this one, ladies and gentlemen. That has been a brief look at the various different tools that you can use in Photoshop in order to change the colors of your photo to make them whatever it is that you want them to look like. I've been your host, Larry. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will catch you next time. Bye, everybody, and have a good one.